Well, good afternoon. We are here now for the second part of the Susan Sontag essay. So today, in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I call the vacation section of the essay. So if you're keeping track, remember in the previous video, I talked about the first part of her argument, the first part of the essay. That's pages 8 to 9, and that's about the family photographs. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the bottom of page 9 and the very beginning of page 10. And that's the section where she talks about vacation photos. And this corresponds to topic number 2 on your paper assignment for paper number 2. So this would be connected in with the second topic on the paper, or the list of prompts on the assignment sheet. So another thing I should mention is remember that there's also the section on news photographs. So in the next video that I'll post tomorrow, I'll talk a little bit about that last section of the essay. So today we're just going to focus on the second part, which is the vacation photo section. And this is the one that I should mention also is usually the most controversial. So for those of you that are starting to think about this essay, this is the part that usually generates the most disagreement on the part of my students whenever I assign this essay and we do these topics. So again, I'm on pages 9 to 10, and I'm going to talk a little bit again about passages and also about her sense of humor, because there's a little bit of sarcasm also in this particular part of the article. The last part's very, very serious, the part on news photographs. But of the 3 sections, this one is probably the most, humorous is probably too strong a word, because her sense of humor is pretty dry and, as I said, kind of sarcastic. But of the 3 sections, the first part on family photos is very poignant, very moving. The second part is kind of comical, and then the third part's very serious and philosophical. So we'll save that philosophical part for the next video. So again, I'm on pages 9 to 10, and I want to draw your attention to what she says here. So at the bottom of page 9, and this is the last paragraph on page 9, where she shifts over and really starts to focus in on these types of photographs, she says the following: a way of certifying experience, taking photographs is also a way of refusing it by limiting experience to a search for something photogenic, by converting experience into an image or a souvenir. Now, if you read the directions for the paper, you'll notice that for topic 2 of the list for this assignment, I mentioned you could also potentially write about experiences you may have had in, for example, a concert setting. If you've gone to shows before the pandemic closed a lot of venues down for the time being, you'll notice that what happens frequently now is that when music starts, you'll have people in the audience that immediately pick up their phone, turn it on, and maybe start taking pictures or filming. And that's fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's disconcerting for someone who's my age, who remembers going to concerts years and years ago where nobody had any cell phones, and once the music started, you just had to focus on the music because you didn't have a camera or a video camera in your pocket. If you did, they would have kicked you out, unless you were at a Grateful Dead show where they would have allowed you to tape the show. But in this case, the ideas on vacation photographs also relate to that idea that sometimes when we are in a particular moment, we're not fully experiencing the moment. That's why I mentioned that concert comparison. I've read of people criticizing those that spend too much of a live concert filming or taping or taking photographs, because there's a sense that by doing that, you're not in the moment with the musicians and the audience, that you almost take yourself out of it because you're so focused on filming and taking pictures that you can't really enjoy yourself. And again, that's debatable. You may disagree with her on this, but her point here is that in certain moments, if we're spending all of our time setting up photographs, filming people doing things, whether, again, it's at a concert or whether we're on vacation, that we lose something. And that's what she means when she says that taking a photograph can sometimes be a way of refusing that experience, because it takes you away from living in the moment. You're spending, in her opinion, so much time on documenting what's happening that you're not actually living out the moment itself. And again, that's her opinion. You don't have to necessarily agree with that. I don't think I agree with her in all cases. related to this either, but that's her argument at the very beginning of it, that again, if you're spending your time on a vacation or at a concert and you've got the camera on and you've got your phone on and you're distracted, that you're not really living it. I'll give you one more example. Most of you are probably too young to know the band King Crimson. They're a really well-known progressive experimental rock band that started in the 60s, and they still tour. The last time I saw them here in Chicago, they made an announcement at the beginning saying, please shut off all cell phones, and they were very serious about it. They had all of the ushers at the Vic Theater going seat by seat and row by row during the show and asking politely for people to turn their cameras off. And the reason that they announced at the beginning of the show was that they wanted people to experience the music, and they wanted people in the audience to remember the music and what it felt like to be there. They didn't want the cameras distracting either the band on stage or the other audience members. At the end of the show, by the way, they announced from the stage that, okay, now's the time you can take your cameras out. Now you can take as many pictures as you like. And at that time, all the band members also took out their cameras and started taking pictures of the audience, particularly Tony Levin, who's the bass player in King Crimson. And he's a pretty good photographer. So it was funny. As soon as that announcement was made at the end of the show, Tony Levin had his camera out and was taking pictures of the audience. So I mentioned that example, the recent one from my experience, because that was part of the point of the band. They said, we want you to be here with us in the moment and wait to take pictures or to take any video until the end of the show, and then you can have your little memento or souvenir, as she calls it. Now, this is also where she starts to get a little sarcastic, because at the top of page 10 and at the end of this paragraph, here's what she says. She says that for some people that are taking vacations, using a camera appeases the anxiety which the work-driven feel about not working when they are on vacation and supposed to be having fun. They have something to do that is like a friendly imitation of work. They take pictures. This is my dad, to be honest. He does like traveling a lot, but anytime we go visit our family, an extended family in Ireland, or we take any other trip, my mom doesn't like to travel very much, but my dad loves doing it. He takes a lot of pictures, and sometimes I think it's because he's a bit of a workaholic, right? He even works part-time now that he's retired, and he uses the camera as a way to kind of organize his experience when he's traveling, particularly to places that he's not familiar with. And it's not to say that he's not enjoying himself, but I can kind of see what she's saying here, that I think for some people, it's like they give themselves a task, right? They give themselves something to do while they're on vacation because they want to structure their time, and they want to make sure that they assuage those feelings of guilt that they may be having for being away from work. Now, again, there's a little bit of humor in this when she says that, and that's certainly not the case with everyone. In fact, if you're going to write about this particular topic and this particular passage, you could disagree with her. You could say, well, you know, Susan Sontag, I don't really think that's how it works. When I'm on vacation, I'm not trying to get away from my feelings of guilt at not being at my desk and not being at work. But that's her point. Her main idea here, and I'm going to show you another photo here in a second to try to reinforce this, is that from her perspective, there are moments where we over-document things. We take too many pictures. We spend so much time recording and filming and taking all these photographs that, again, we don't live in the moment. That's her argument in this part of the essay. It's almost the opposite, actually, of the argument on the family photographs. The family photograph argument is about trying to maintain those connections, trying to maintain those links to people that we don't get to see very often, if at all. Whereas this part is about the downside of photography, of taking too many pictures and taking yourself out of the moment. Now, again, what she says is debatable. You don't have to agree exactly with what she's saying here. In fact, if you would like to write a paper where you disagree with the reading, that's a good topic to choose. Again, number 2 on the list of prompts for this next paper allows you to write about this section of the essay. Now, as I was thinking about doing this video, I went through my photo albums. I don't, I have some here, a lot of family trips that I would have taken when I was a kid. My mom has all those photo albums, and my mom and dad have them, so I don't have a lot of those. So I was rifling through all these old photo albums. I found a few good pictures of myself in college and in my punk band that I was in when my head was all shaved off, so that was fun. I haven't seen that one in a while. But I did find a really good vacation photo from the summer of 1987. Many years before I think all of you were born. And this is a photo of me and my younger sister, Allison, in London. This is outside the Sherlock Holmes Tavern or pub in London. This is the summer of 1987. This was the first major trip that my family had ever taken. In fact, to this day, it's the only time my mom has ever traveled outside the United States. Again, she's not a big fan of traveling, and she doesn't like to fly very much. So this is a photo from that first big family trip that we took when I was about 13, and my sister here, I think, is about 10. So if I were going to write on topic number 2 for this next assignment, and I were using this photograph, what I would probably point out, and this might be hard for you to see in the video here, is that we both look exhausted. This was actually at the end of the trip. And so both of us look pretty tired. My sister looks like she has no interest in being there. She's tolerating it, and she's still a good sport about these kind of things today. But she looks a little bored. She looks a little tired. I also look tired. I have my Hard Rock Cafe shirt on. I'm holding a poster. I believe that's a comic book poster of some kind that I probably got at Forbidden Planet, which is a comic book shop in London. I think it's still there. I know there's still one in New York. The only person in this photograph that looks like they're having fun actually is this gentleman. I don't know who that is. It was just some person who was sitting there at the cafe, clearly enjoying his day. So if I were taking doing an analysis of this photograph, what I would probably talk about would be the expressions on our faces, the fact that my mom or dad, I don't know which one took the photo here, also tried to capture some of the surroundings. They tried to capture the buildings, the street. You'll notice they didn't just focus on the two of us. They wanted to kind of capture that environment. Now, why did they want to do that? Well, it was the first time any of us had been outside the country. It was certainly the first time any of us had been, to London. And so they wanted to document not only us at that age, it's a picture of us as kids, in my case as a young adult about to go into high school, and my sister as someone about to go into middle school, or soon going into middle school. I'm forgetting all the dates now. And so they want to capture that. But Susan Sontag might say that in taking this photograph, we were showing our boredom. It was the end of the trip. We were exhausted, and we were trying to get one final document because maybe at this point, none of us wanted to be there. I think if you look at my sister's face, if you can see it, she looks like she wants to go home, and she's had enough of this trip. I am very excited also in seeing those red sneakers again. I really love those red sneakers that I had when I was a first-year student in high school. I had not seen those either in years until I found this photograph. So I show you this because I think of the 3 topics for paper number 2, the second one on vacation photos would be the most fun. I say that because there's a little bit of humor in what Sontag is saying. Vacation photographs inevitably have some element of humor in them because we look tired, we look exhausted, we're in these places we've never seen before, and we're trying to adjust, and we're trying to enjoy ourselves, and sometimes we're succeeding and sometimes we're not. I have other photos from this trip where we look a lot happier. But I mention this and I show you those photographs because, again, as you're thinking of this assignment, look at these topics carefully. Which one do you think you would enjoy writing the most? Would it be on family photographs? Would it be on these vacation photos? Or would it be on something objective, something that has nothing to do with you, that you're not in, that's not about your family, that's not about your friends? That would be topic 3 on the news photographs. And in the next video, I'm going to focus on that. And that would probably be the most philosophical of the 3 topics that I have posted for you for this second paper. Again, of the 3 prompts, that's the one that really asks you to engage with some of the serious issues that she gets into at the end of the essay, which I'll talk about in the next video that I do. But for now, just to sum up, her opinion on vacation photos is that too often they're taken at times where we're frustrated or we're tired or we're nervous or we're anxious. And as a result, we're showing that in the photo. We're not showing the fun that we had, but we're showing, kind of like this one, we're showing more our fatigue, and we're not in the moment. That's her concern. How can we have these experiences if we have a camera that's in between us and the moment that we're experiencing? That's her point. Now, again, if you have any questions on that, please email me. I'm happy to talk with you more one-on-one about it. I'm happy to give you some more suggestions. But like I said, think seriously about this one. I'm sure we all have vacation photos that we could write about. If you want to, if you have photos from a concert that you've gone to, you're welcome to write about that, because again, I feel like that's a similar kind of image to the one she's talking about here. So that gives you some options for this second topic. All right. So again, think about the topics, read the directions on Blackboard, and in the next video, I'll talk about the third and the final of these possibilities for paper number 2. And then at the end of this week, I'll also put up a video that just talks about the structure of this paper. No matter which of the topics you choose, you're going to have the same basic structure. And I'll talk about that at the end of the week when I give you another outline like I did for paper number 1. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed seeing some of these kind of funny photos, and I hope you're enjoying the essay as you're reading it. I will see you in the next video where we'll talk about the end of Sontag's essays. See you then.